Hey, good morning. Good morning and welcome to another edition of Live from the Heartland. We're here at the WLUW studios at 26 East Pearson. I'm Michael James. I'm here with Katie Hogan, and we have a really nice show for you. You were listening to The Bump, and that is a tune by George Freeman, who will be up in a little bit to talk with us about many years of exciting music that he's been producing. And we have a couple of other wonderful guests. We're going to talk to some people who were performing at Earth Day up at the Heartland today, and we're going to talk to a couple of people who have an experimentation and new product with the healing hemp. And so with all that said, let's get going.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning, Katie.
We're missing our third guy today. He's hanging out with some loose men at some cafe somewhere.
Old guys around the table.
Well, I'm not sure that
They're
they want to
younger
hear
than
that.
me, maybe. But.
Yeah, right. There's that. So, Michael, a very important person passed yesterday.
I'd like to just share that my mother-in-law, the wonderful Bobby Persack, former Miss Rutherford, New Jersey, passed away yesterday morning. My wife, Paige, her daughter, her oldest kid, was there, and she was a wonderful person. And we're thinking a lot about my father-in-law, Ken, who is also in his 90s, who is... I'm sure he's pretty lonely right now, but he does have Paige there. So I love you all, and I'm thinking of you.
Blessings in her transition. And it's Earth Day weekend, so in addition to the folks we'll be talking to later about who are celebrating up at the Heartland today, we're inviting you to celebrate all weekend at the Chicago Botanical Gardens Unearthed Science Festival for the whole family. Another thing that happened just yesterday in the neighborhood was the young people walking out on 420, walking out for gun control again. In our neighborhood it took special meaning because they gathered at the site of the slaying of a teacher that happened last October. It was kind of interesting when the Waldorf kids were joined by the Sullivan kids. It was
bringing those classes together.
Actually, a beautiful moment. And another beautiful moment earlier this week when so many people took part in the local school council elections at all of the public schools in Rogers Park. Let's see what we can do about making it better.
Yeah, there were a lot of good candidates, and Network 49, which is a group that Katie and I both know about, they were very much involved.
I heard that Arizona spent $3,600,000 on drug testing of food stamps recipients, and they found one guy. Go Arizona!
What's the source of that information?
You know, the
I'm just playing the devil's advocate here.
Internets. You look it up. It's there. It's there. Today's Record Store Day. Longtime vinyl star Valhalla's
This
Records.
week or last week?
Today. Last week?
Today.
It's today.
Good.
All right.
Get
good.
to the local record stores, you guys.
Yeah,
Buy all the records. Buy
and
George
find
Freeman
a local record store.
Buy Twin Peaks records.
We'll be talking to some local.
Buy Joni Pilato records.
Yeah, we'll do
Sparrow
that.
records.
Black vinyl.
Black vinyl.
Indeed.
Yes.
Love that. There is lead in Chicago water, just in case you were wondering. Please don't use plastic bottled water. Please filter it. You know, try and...
That's intense. I saw a thing on the TV
intense.
last night about all of the plastic in the ocean, and you know it's big, twice the size of Texas.
Oh my God, there's like 3 or 4 islands in between the two oceans right now that are huge of plastic.
Well, maybe the new proposed Secretary of State Pompeo could do something if he ever gets in.
Well, he won't get in. If y'all keep calling, this week was a significant victory for the people. The committee that is hearing his case, the Senate committee, 2 more senators went the other way, and that was directly credited to a flood of phone calls. If you need to know who to call, just check out the Indivisible site. Indivisible Illinois, Indivisible Chicago, whichever one. They give us something to do every day, and this week it was phoning against not only Pompeo, who is, you know, they're trying to put for Secretary of State, who has nothing to do with lead and water, Michael, but the EPA dude, who we'd really like to kick out, is sitting there, Pruitt. Anyway, we'll...
I'm glad you clarified that for us, Katie. There's a lot of little details and arrows and scratches on my sheet, but I do want to ask you about the Chicago Votes Jail Project, because that's a really exciting little story.
God love them. Chicago Votes Cook County Jail Project did a thing in the primary season that just passed, because so many people who are incarcerated, they are what do they call them, detained, because they have not been charged with anything. Those people can vote. And so these kids, these young people, went and registered over 1,000 eligible voters at Cook County Jail, coordinated 2 days of in-person voting at the jail that resulted in over 600 votes cast. That is good work, people, and we should support a House Bill 4469 going through Springfield right now to protect the voting rights of thousands of eligible citizens who are being detained, half of them simply because they don't have the money to bail out.
You know, and it's a big deal around the country that people, the right to vote for people who served their time and paid their penalties.
Absolutely.
It's really outrageous.
I mean,
One last thing on our little round of banter here.
I think we got 2 more, but go ahead.
Well, you go give one, and I'll save the one. I'm going to do the one I was going to talk about. It's in the Loyola Phoenix today, the Loyola paper, and right on the headline it says Loyola unions, faculty union and Loyola come to get to agreement. Vote set for this week. So I don't have any more details, but that sounds good, and we do like unions.
Very positive. Good work, Loyola. Good work, adjunct faculty. And the final thing is, just we'll keep looking at it. The
Final
mayor's,
for now.
Huh?
Final for right now.
I don't understand that, but I'm going to just charge ahead anyway. The mayor's race is getting crowded.
Yeah, Dorothy Brown got in.
Oh, my
Isn't she under indictment from the feds?
Yeah, she's being investigated. I think that's an appropriate move for a candidate for the mayor of the city to be someone who's already one step in the door to being indicted.
But there is someone important that
Well,
is announcing.
I did read that Lori Little is thinking about
Lori
it.
Lightfoot.
I'm sorry, right, Lori Lightfoot. I wrote the wrong thing here. I like her a lot. Out of everybody I've heard is running, she's by far the most interesting to me at this point.
Well, if she's interesting to you, she should probably be real interesting to a lot of other people. Because you got to know.
Thank you, Michael. He does that.
All right, so we had enough of this banter.
I think so.
All right, let's get going. When we started the show, we had a little tune called The Bump. And
We
it's
did
by
indeed.
George Freeman. And we are honored to have George Freeman and Joni Pilato in the studio with us right now. Good morning to you guys.
Hey now, hey,
We're
hey,
here. Hey,
hey now.
Oh, they're starting to sing already. I love this. I love this.
I love it. I think we're supposed to start with some Steppin' with George. So let's do that. Get you in the mood, everybody out there.
Off the
And,
most
we'll
recent
be right back.
recording, too, yeah.
All
Indeed.
right.
Hey now.
Where's some more earphones?
Oh, give me my cup.
That was so interesting.
What?
Yeah, we tried.
The two of you, how you do
Isn't
that?
that good?
We like it. Our third partner would probably criticize it.
I like it that way.
No, I do too.
I
People
was
like
looking
it.
at-
They had a flow. didn't they?
yeah, but you all got the floor going, that's no doubt about that.
All right, get ready.
Get ready. Hey, we're back. We're back with more Live from the Heartland, and we're about to do some talking with Joni Pilato and the incomparable George Freeman.
Happy
Good
birthday,
morning to
George
you guys.
Freeman.
Hey now.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, you've had a lot of press this week. Last couple, well, you had a lot of press in your life, but apparently you just had a milestone. You turned. What age are you? He's laughing. He's
What,
laughing.
you think it's a big secret right now? I mean,
Yeah, I think the world knows
I
now,
know.
George.
what, did you reach 90 this week?
91.
91.
April 10th, I believe, right?
Well,
Yeah, April.
April
April
10th.
10th.
Congratulations.
And, as a guy in his closer to 80 than 70, I'm looking for the answer. Is it whiskey? Is it
Women, song?
weed, black coffee, or is it a lot of kale?
All of the above?
Do you eat a lot of kale? What is your secret?
All of the above.
That's it. I like that.
You got to win this all of it. You cannot let one go without the other. You got to have it all in there at one time. Another.
Wow.
Well, you go way back.
Wait a minute now, wait a minute.
And what really popped out at me is as a young guy who started to love jazz in the 50s, Charlie Parker was around, and
Yeah.
one of the albums I think was released in 2002 has you playing with Charlie Parker. Tell us
That was in 1950.
1950.
Somewhere
Yeah.
in there.
Somewhere in there.
Right.
It was a live date, wasn't it,
The
George?
live date at the Persian Ballroom on 64th and Cottage Road.
Oh, I love it.
The Persian Ballroom,
Uh-huh.
Charlie Parker.
Michael
Her-
loved Charlie Parker.
Michael, you couldn't be wrong because Charlie Parker, at that time, we had the Persian Ballroom, they had a bathroom in the back of the stage. And Bert walked on stage, he said, "Where's George?"
And someone
Sure
said,
did. And
in the head.
I walked,
Sorry.
Hey, keep it together.
I'm sorry.
Where did George go, right?
Okay, George is busy laughing
well, I
right now,
was in
folks.
the head, really. And I walked out and he said, "We don't start till George get here."
Nice.
Uh-huh.
And it hadn't been the same since. It's just
Yeah.
been remarkable for him to say something like that. And because he and I were very good friends. He was a very intelligent man. I don't know what they said about Charlie Parker, but he was definitely, when you're creative like that, everything else falls in place.
Huh.
He was very creative. He could write music. He could do the whole 9 yards. And I was there to witness that. And
So, Joni Pilato of Southport Records, how did you and when did you first find each other to collaborate, and so that you could what is the correct
Katie, I'm
word?
so glad you asked that because it's
Yeah.
it's so important for me to say this.
Good.
See, Joni and Sparrow, they've been together for quite some time, husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother Von Freeman, he's my older brother. There's three of us. Brad Freeman played drums, Von Freeman and myself. But Von had been knowing Sparrow and Joni for quite some time.
I remember seeing Von Freeman
Yeah.
as
Sure.
a young,
Yeah.
very young person.
Yeah, the great Von Freeman and Sparrow and Joni recorded from him. And so naturally,
You found each other.
So we knew Vaughn before we met George.
Uh-huh.
And through Vaughn, really, we recorded Vaughn's first CD, Walkin' Tough, for Southport. And then we said, "Vaughn, let's do another record." He said, "No, it's George's turn."
Nice.
So he sort of, laid it out, and he said, "You got to record George. That's the deal, right?" So all our contracts with Vaughn were on like the back of a napkin. That's the kind of relationship we have with these guys. They were just ready to record. They wanted to do it, and Vaughn wanted us to document George,
And you were there to do it.
and we were there.
Now, who's
So
Eldridge Freeman? Is he a relative,
glad. That's
brother?
Brez.
he's the oldest brother.
He's the oldest brother. And then there's Chico, who is Von's kid.
Von's youngest son.
And then there's-
Von's oldest son.
And then there's a Marco.
Yeah, Mark.
Mark.
That's probably a lot of others. I actually had a body worker last name Freeman. Probably related to him too.
Yeah, let's just go down
I
that
just
road,
always
shall
love
we?
the
Yeah,
name.
let's stick
I
with
always
jazz.
love the name Freeman.
Sure.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Good one.
So, one of the reasons that we made sure to have you now, although you've been in a lot of media markets this week, George
Oh, thank you so
Freeman.
much.
My Lord, I mean,
He's
you've
a
been
star.
You are a star in
Really?
Chicago
It's
media
about
this
time.
week for sure.
When I grow up, I
I'm-
want to
I'm
be
very
like
touched
George.
Yeah, I'm touched that you
Well,
came
you
to
know, when I
live
first
from.
met you outside, you said, "Oh, you've been very popular this week." You won me right then.
You're
You
easy.
hit it, and Brian is telling jokes.
Well, I have to say that normally we have Joni and Sparrow on together. I just want to let the audience know that Sparrow's playing security this week, hovering
Yes.
over these
Yeah,
two.
he's
and-
right
Now he's on the show already.
he's
He
the-
just said yes.
Yes, that's
he
right.
spoke. He gets a union
He's
contract.
got my back.
But one of the reasons we wanted to make sure and do it this week is that you've got a big event coming up next weekend, right?
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Who's
And-
talking?
Well, I'll tell you that Sparrow always comes up with the best titles. He
Okay.
said, "We got to do a toast to George Freeman."
What a title.
And I said,
That
"Is
just
that
blows me
beautiful
away.
or what?" So that's what we're going to do next Saturday at City Winery at noon. It's a noon concert.
Oh, that's too early.
George is going to play. It's not too early.
Oh,
Michael.
right after the show.
This is too early.
Tee.
So they're going to have a nice brunch, and our Sparrow and I are going to play an opening set with our band, and Billy Branch is going to be playing
I think we all have to
harmonica
go
and
there
singing.
after the show.
Yeah.
And George is just going to let loose and play. We got a great band with John Devlin on bass and accordion. Louise Everling is playing drums and percussion, and George is going to just play.
Dang.
Play my heart out.
That's
George, I
right.
want to ask you a couple about I was reading up on you a little bit, and I know that you played with Lester Young as well as Charlie Parker.
Sure did.
I'm wondering if you if you remembered a place called the Sutherland Lounge, where
But certainly do.
as a young guy, tell us a little bit about growing up and the first hearing music and the places you went to.
Well, that's interesting because it happened. See, my father was a policeman, and he,
A Chicago policeman?
yeah, he was one of the first blacks
He had to be.
Yeah.
at that time, and he had a beat. He used to bring all the entertainers by the house to see us. Not see us. My father.
Your dad knew.
Yeah, my father my father could sing like he liked Fat Wallace and Louis Armstrong. He bring them by the house. I was a little kid, and when he bring them by the house, I was just amazed because my father could imitate Louis Armstrong. I was crazy about Fat Wallace because he told jokes all the time. Yeah. That killed me. I love Fat. I love Louis Armstrong too. But anyway, we grew up and we left there and went to 5418 King Drive. And 55th Street had the One Bookie Cafe and it had the Club de Lisa.
The what? Club de Lisa?
Yeah, that was the big nightclub. They had chorus girls.
Ooh.
All right
Had
then.
a stage that would go up.
Those were the men going.
What went up?
"Ooh."
The stage.
I hope you
guys
guys
like a
are all
little-
catching these jokes
You
out
got some
there. I don't know. You
controversy
might have to
here,
be
you know.
here to hear them.
But everything was there on the south side when you were coming up, George.
Absolutely.
Very
That's
much
the
so. Had a
point.
hurricane, and so I was a good kid, and I used to go out. The little kids go out and they go to the One Boogie to watch the. Get that. We go there and watch the show, and they had chorus girls, and they had this guitar player named T-Bone Walker.
I got one of his records.
Yeah, he fascinated me. He come out, put the guitar behind his neck, and
Long before Chuck Berry.
oh yeah, he was. Yeah, it was really seriously.
Yes.
And then he do the splits and things. I thought that was remarkable. This man doing this,
So
behind
you were
his-
raised watching these showmen.
yeah, it was a showman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. So
At
that's
that time.
like the elevated and complete notion of performance.
You had to have showmanship in order to, like I said, you got to get their attention some kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I walk out on the street, I say, everybody say yeah.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
And see, George
Uh-huh.
brings that to his performance when he's on stage. It's not a library jazz show.
Right,
It's
right.
fun, and he's bringing that beautiful, fun element, loving life.
Trying to get their attention. You
Yeah.
got to get, if you don't get their attention, you're dead.
Right. Right.
The
And when
the
did you
showman.
start? I love that you've got Muhammad Ali on your shirt.
He's also got a button on that is
Greatest
a
of all.
pin from the Black Musicians Union. Now,
Oh,
is that something from the past, or we still
Is
have
that-
separate
this
unions?
this is way back. Yeah.
Does
I
it
was
still
back-
exist?
I was back there when they had all black musician union on the side of Chicago.
It's kind of a separate part of the
Yeah, it
union.
was, and
Yeah.
in fact, I called to pay my dues, to the union.
Uh huh.
He said, I see here that you've been in the union for. He said, my God. He blew my mind.
Yeah, he couldn't add up that quickly, could
He
he?
said, have you been in the union all these years? I said, yeah. He said, 80 years. He
They,
was-
they should give you a pass, George.
Yeah, really. You should-
What they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. He says, well, we won't charge you the full
So-
amount, but we're going to charge you.
Yeah.
You guys were singing outside. Are you gonna sing anything here? You gonna do a little riff of Marco or?
No, we're gonna play Marco.
Oh, we're playing Marco.
But-
No, they were gonna sing a little tune.
Oh, George the Bomb. Remember
Oh.
that, George? Your
Yeah.
new tune?
Yeah.
He's still writing every minute.
That's
He said-
amazing.
He said, "You never know when you're
You
gonna
want me to
when it's
sing it?
gonna hit you." Yeah,
I'd love it. We'd love it.
Okay. Doom 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 doom
George the Bomb.
doom
George the Bomb.
doom doom
George the Bomb.
doom doom
George the Bomb.
George
George the Bomb.
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 Dum, 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 dum,
George
dum.
the Bomb.
George the Bomb. George the Bomb. George the Bomb. George the Bomb.
Come on out and see us.
Yes, come out and see them next week at City Winery Concert. A toast to George Freeman, a noon concert at the City Winery, which is on Randolph.
Yeah, it's Randolph by Racine.
Yeah, Randolph and
And
Racine.
you're in
I gotta ask a couple more questions.
I don't think you have time, my brother.
Real quick, how much time do we got?
Okay, you got
I
time.
got plenty of time.
You
Kate.
got time,
We
you got
agreed
time.
on the time. So, in the course of listening to your music and reading about you, George, I had some memories, and I just wondered if you knew, like Jackie McLean, who was a trumpet player who I think he was in a play called The Connection or something, and I saw him in the late 50s.
I didn't know him.
Okay, next
You know,
question.
next-
It's George's
Well, you know
thing.
about him.
Oh, definitely. You kidding?
And how about Ira Sullivan? Because Ira Sullivan
Ira
played
Sullivan.
with Charlie Parker too.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites. Yeah, Ira Sullivan. Yeah, definitely knew him.
He still comes to town and plays
He one of the
once a
great
year.
trumpet players of all time.
Yeah.
So-
Multi-instrumentalist.
You guys, how many records have you done with Southport?
George has 2 records. We did Rebellion in '95, and then we did another great Sparrow title, George Burns, in '99, right? And we're actually planning on the new recording with this group, with George and Billy Branch and
Oh, really?
John Devlin and Louise. It's
I-
going to be a new sound because,
Are you taping some of it live next week or
oh
no?
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Well, you've
So
done
that's a you guys got the preview of that.
Uh-huh.
You got the, what do you call it? The scoop.
We
Thank
got
you,
the
Sparrow.
scoop. We love getting
my back.
scoops.
George,
Thank you.
you've played all kind of music, from swing, jazz, blues, funk. What do you really like? I mean, I know you like it all, but if you were relegated to one genre of music, where would you be at?
Well, really, see, that's a good question to ask me because
That's why I asked it.
I tell you why, because I really rely on rhythm. Rhythm, soul. Here's the catch: rhythm, soul, and the feeling. That's what I rely on. But you got to have the concept above all to do all of that. Now, I'm a jazz man. I'm the bebopper and the swing man. And I can't leave my roots because that's how I was raised up. But whatever you do, you've got to have that joy at the bone,
Gotta have the
joy
beat.
at the bone. You got to have a feeling, and you got to have soul. Now, Dave at the Green Mill, he said, George, he says, when you play, he said you can hear a church, you can hear basically quiet as a, what is it?
Pin drop.
Yeah, when
that's
you
what
play
it
those
is.
ballads and it's hushed
Yeah,
and
he
the
said
audience
basically
gets
He
quiet.
says, and he said people out there crying.
That's right.
I said, I don't make them cry now. They out
Sure.
there crying. He said, it's so quiet, it's so peaceful, it's so beautiful. And
Ding ding.
But I'll tell you, the rhythm element that you were talking about,
Oh,
George,
yeah.
what do you think Charlie Parker said? We don't go on until George gets here.
Right.
He was counting on you to lay out that groove and that rhythm,
well, I played those chords for him.
right? The comping,
Then
right?
again, it's confidence. It's being in the environment of. I had played on stage with musicians who looked the other way.
Mm.
I played on stage with them looking at their telephone. Looking, you got to be involved. The more get involved into what is going on, if you're involved into it, like when Johnny comes on the stage and started singing, I get involved.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Sparrow play the piano, I get involved. You know what I mean? Because I know that he's giving all he got. Now I could easily look the other way when Sparrow play the piano. Of course, Sparrow smacked me though.
That's so good, George. You're so right.
One
Focus.
last thing. What inspires you? What if you know what kind of things inspire you to keep doing the stuff that you do?
My environment.
And your environment is
My environment, well, to begin with, was my family.
Marco.
My family was just my father, and my mother, she's a Christian woman, and my two brothers, Bruz and Vine. And we went from there. But I was brought up in church, really, because my grandmother called me Baby George.
I didn't know.
See,
That's news
you
to
learned
me.
something new today, right?
91 years old. Baby George. Just so happy to be Baby George, you know, and they take me around, and I hear that music and hear that beat. When I first heard jazz, it was just, my father, this is a true story, my father had a piano, we had a piano in the house, and we had this radio called Majestic, and my father would do something to that radio to bring that bass out. So, boom, boom, boom. Yeah, boom, 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 and the drums. And we used to put kids, Bruz, Vine, and myself. We was little kids, and my father, policeman, he worked from 8 to 12, but when he worked that night shift from 12 to 9, it was horrible because we couldn't. Everybody,
You had to be quiet.
yeah, and listen to the radio.
Uh-huh.
So the teacher sent for my mother to come to school. She says, I don't know what's wrong with your son. She said, sometimes he's up and sometimes he's down. That's because my daddy was playing that music at nighttime. And
All night long.
all night long.
Okay, George Freeman, Joni Pilato. We're going to go out with something called Marco on an album, All in the Family.
Oh, that's great.
All right, we're going to do that. And for the audience out there, you definitely have to look at the video on this particular interview because George was more visible than audio on this one.
George the Bomb.
Hey,
George
just so you
Savant.
know, you can find that video within the next week on youtube.com/heartlandmedia or on livefromtheheartland.com.
Great.
Let's hear Marco.
And thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.